Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Adkins, and I'm the TO for the Vanguard GT. And and you're probably saying to yourself right now, Mike, you don't run Crossroads. What are you doing talking about Crossroads? Well, Corey asked me if I would help him out a little bit with how to collect scores this year. So those of you who have been to either Vanguard GT or Mountaineer will find this all very familiar. But since we have a lot of new people as well, this is a very brief tutorial to just sort of talk through how you can submit your scores and look up like pairings and results and things like that this year. It is an online paperless system. You will want to have an internet connected device, such as a smartphone, that either has a data plan or can connect to the hotel Wi-Fi. Tablets also work if they are connected to the Wi-Fi. Basically, anything that'll run a web browser is what you should bring with you. So just to keep this quick, it is we're using a combination of Google Forms and Google Spreadsheets, all of which are online. What Corey will have for everyone is hopefully QR codes, or perhaps but like Bitly shortened URLs, so that everybody can easily find everything. So or he might just post some links up in the Facebook group or email them out to folks. But basically, you will get a URL that will take you to a spreadsheet that looks basically like the one that you see here. Ignore all the data in it. That's just junk data for testing purposes so that we make sure that everything works in advance. And you'll be able to pull up and see the pairings. Just to give you guys the quick drive through on this. So I'm currently looking at the round one pairings. You can see all the tabs kind of go across the top there. You'll be able to see round one pairings, round one results, individual results, and team results. So you can keep track of both if you want to. And then, of course, round two pairings, and then the round two individual results. I haven't submitted many test ones there. Round two team results. Once again, ignore the data because it's all just junk data for testing purposes. And so forth and so on for all the rounds. So that means that every round, when it's time for the round to start, and Corey says the pairings are up, you would just need to come here, refresh the browser, and go to the tab for the pairings for whatever round it is, and look up whatever table your team is on. So going back around the pairings, going down here, the team names are down there. It'll say who their opponent is, and it'll say what table you're on. So you just scroll down. Looking for your team name, they're in alphabetical order. You can see who you're playing, and you can see which set of four tables you are on. And then, of course, here the first couple of tabs will be the team results and the individual results, just in case anybody wants to see like how they did individually. But most people are going to want to watch the total team results, which is the first tab to see how your team is doing. And that's basically it. Everything will be in this one spreadsheet, which Corey will again probably put up a QR code for that you can scan with the camera on your phone to open to see all the results. If you look and you do not see your results, chances are you just need to refresh your browser, or maybe wait a minute or two for Google to finish crunching the numbers and automatically update everything, and then refresh again. And only if the numbers are there, but you believe they are incorrect, or you have waited more than 5 minutes and refreshed the page and you still don't see your results, then you should go talk to the TO, who will probably ask you to refresh the page one more time just to see. But 9 times out of 10, when we've used this system before, if something doesn't look right or you don't see anything, it just means give it another minute and or refresh the browser and it'll pop up. Again, this is built on just stuff that Google has written. There's not a whole lot of actual code written here. So everything is pretty stable and pretty reliable, and we've already tested it out some, and it seems like it works right. So that's how you look up results, and that's how you look up your pairings. So now let's talk about what you will need to do after every game real quick. So Corey will again, we'll have a QR code and or shortened URL, or we'll post a link to a URL. It is the same form for every round, so you just need that one URL, and it'll take you to a form that looks like this, which you open on your phone, which both you and your opponent will need to fill out. Both people don't necessarily need to fill it out, but we do need a record submitted for both players And that is very important because if you don't submit a result, then your opponent does not get the sport point, right? For the good game vote. Like the good game vote is missing. You will not get your points for having played the game if you don't submit results. But also, if your opponent chooses not to and just says, yours are in there, that's good enough. Like, not only do they not get points, but you also will be short, the good game sport vote that you would have gotten. So make sure that both you and your opponent submit them. However, there's no authentication here, so anyone can submit results for anyone. So if your opponent is having trouble with their phone, or they are for like whatever reason, if they're having trouble getting the URL to open, you can submit twice and just pick yourself the first time and pick your opponent the second time. So long as we get again one result for every player, everything will be fine. And again, it is the same form for every round. So the first thing you have to pick is what round it is. You pick which table you are on. And again, these are the team tables, so which set of 4 tables you are on. You pick your own name out of the drop-down. Everything here is drop-downs as much as I can do because it's way easier to scroll on a phone than type. So mostly you're picking things out of drop-downs. Then you pick your opponent's name out of the drop-down. There's your sport vote. It's just a simple radio button, yes, no. Since we are playing blackjack and every table is potentially playing, one of like 5 or 6 scenarios, we do need you to tell us which scenario you specifically played so that we can apply the correct blackjack scoring table. So you need to pick the scenario you played off the list here. Then you just need to put in how many victory points you scored. So if you were playing pillage and you were sitting on 4 objectives at the end of the game, you put in 4. If you're playing invade and you had 7 unit strength on the other side of the table, you select 7, right? Pretty simple. And then same thing again, however many victory points your opponent scored. You don't have to tell us who won or lost. We can figure that out based on how many victory points you put in. And then points you routed is the number of points that you killed. You don't need to tell us the difference or anything like that. Simply count up the total number and type it in. This is the only thing you actually have to type. And then also same thing for your opponent. It's important that you put in both your numbers and your opponent's numbers so that on the back end, when the TO or the scorekeeper or whoever looks, they can see that you've both put in the same numbers and know that everything is correct. And that's it. You don't need to do any math. You don't need to look up how the blackjack scoring works for your scenario and do the math yourself. You just put in the number of victory points you got and the number of victory points your opponent got. You count up how many points you routed. You count up how many points they routed. You put it in, and the spreadsheet will do all the math for you. And then you can check the results to make sure that it looks correct. Okay. So very little that you have to do here. It's mostly just picking a few things out of drop downs and typing in a couple of numbers and then hitting submit. I'm not going to hit submit right now because I didn't put in any real values. But when you hit submit and the page refreshes, there will be a link to the results spreadsheet that we were just looking at right there on the screen. So if you want to go from there straight to seeing the results to make sure they're correct, you can. The results might not have filtered all the way through to the public visible spreadsheet. So you might have to hit that, see that your results aren't there, wait 1 minute, hit refresh on the browser, then make sure they are correct. But that should basically be your workflow after every game, right? You open up this form, you go through it, you pick all the values, you just enter them, very, very straightforward, and you submit it. You and your opponent both do the same thing. If you submit incorrect data, like the wrong number of victory points, or you picked the wrong scenario, then what you should do is first submit the form again, pick the same round, and enter the correct data. Okay, having multiple rows in for the round doesn't necessarily break anything because the first row is the one that's going to get used. Okay, so the best thing you can do is first, before you forget it, put in the correct data and submit the correct data. Then go tell the TO or the scorekeeper or whoever's manning the laptop at the front that you accidentally put in incorrect data and ask them to delete the first one that you submitted. Okay, and as soon as that one's gone, once again, you refresh everything, then the numbers should be correct. All right. And that's pretty much it. Again, it is the same form for every round. So if you just, open the results tab in the results spreadsheet in like one tab, and this form in another tab on your browser, and just keep going back and refreshing both of them. That's kind of all you will need to do until we get to like end of tournament and players' choice voting kinds of things. And again, those will be similar. So let me just show you real quick. Player's choice it's just another form. Corey will put up, again, either shortened URLs or QR codes for you to scan for the point on Sunday morning when he wants you to submit your player's choice vote. So you pick your own name so we know who's voting to make sure nobody votes twice. And then you pick whichever army you think is the best looking one, and you hit submit. And that's all you have to do for player's choice voting. And then at the very end of the tournament, there's an end of tournament voting form that will ask you who your top two favorite opponents, your most favorite, and your second favorite opponent. And again, you have to start by picking your own name, just so we make sure that we've gotten one result from everyone, and we know who they have submitted, like who all has submitted a result. So we know if we're missing someone, we know who is missing. And again, you just hit submit, and it goes through. Now, after the tournament is over, since right now you only see like battle scores and total attrition and strength of schedule, and then over here it's the same thing: battle score, total attrition, strength of schedule. After the tournament, we will go back and we will add the like sports and player's choice and paint columns to this version of the spreadsheet. So just keep it handy, like don't close it, just keep it open on your phone. And like by the time you get home from the tournament, or probably like on the way, like as soon as the tournament's over, and it's no longer there's no longer a reason to keep it secret so that people can't tell who's necessarily winning overall. We will just add those to the spreadsheet real quick, and like for those of you who are carpooling, one of you on your way home can be refreshing it and telling everybody like what all their numbers are. So that's basically it. Bring an internet connected device that will run a web browser. Enter forms that are very straightforward, that are mostly picking things off of drop downs. Ensure that both you and your opponent submit results. Verify that the numbers look correct on this spreadsheet, which will be just another QR code or shortened URL that you are given. If things don't look right, just give it a minute, or if things are missing, just give it a minute and hit refresh. If it looks like the math is definitely wrong, then please do go point that out to the TOs. As we have tested things thoroughly, and we'll test them even more, but you never know. There can always be something off, and if it's wrong for you, it's probably wrong for other people as well, so we can fix it for everybody. Only other thing I can think of is if you end up playing kill as a scenario, then just put 0 for your victory points for both of you, and just put the attrition, because that's all that matters for that one. Otherwise, all the other scenarios are basically the same. Put in your victory points, your total victory points scored in the scenario, and then it'll do all the rest of the math for you. I think that's pretty much it. This will be the third time we've done tournament results this way. It's gone pretty smoothly every time. So Corey wanted to check it out. I hope it goes well here at Crossroads. I'm really excited for Crossroads. I'm excited for you guys to try it out. I hope this makes it really easy and smooth for everyone. If you are skittish or uncertain or just very careful, certainly, if you jot down the results on a piece of paper or on the back of a list, just so you have them, just in case something goes wrong, and like your form does not submit, that would not be a bad idea. That is something that has happened maybe once or twice, where for whatever reason Google's form fails to submit correctly, and the data doesn't get to the spreadsheet. Actually, I think that's only happened once. I'm not sure whether it threw an error or not when that happened, but that is something that could happen if like the hotel Wi-Fi hiccups, your browser hiccups, Google hiccups, right? Like there's lots of pieces of infrastructure that might have a momentary brain fart between you pressing the button and it getting all the way to the spreadsheet. So if that's something that you're worried about or concerned about, maybe just jot the numbers down and then type them in your phone just so you have them. But you shouldn't have to submit them. And again, in like 2 events, I think that's happened exactly once. But hotel Wi-Fi is sometimes unreliable, so I'll just mention that before people get 2 rounds in and then realize that like their attrition numbers from round 1 were blank. and they don't remember what they are or whatever. So trust but verify, as they say. So I think that's about it. I've been blathering on for like 15 minutes, and that's probably 5 minutes too long. So anyway, if you've got any questions, Corey, I believe is going to post a link to this in the Facebook group. Feel free to just comment and ask, and I'll be happy to answer them, or Corey will be happy to answer them. Crossroads is coming up really soon. I'm super excited to see everybody there. So let's get together and have some fun playing games. All right, y'all, take care.